Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
It's our travel unit, which we love. This is a country that neither of us have been to yet. Turkey, which we're calling the crossroads of the world. And it kind of sits between Europe and Asia. I've always considered it to be part of the Middle East because most of the population there is Muslim, although there are some Christians. It's a very fun place to go, according to a mutual friend of ours, Susan, who used to work here. She and her husband went to Turkey and had a great time. Susan's Taiwanese, if you want to know. And she came back with some great stories and beautiful pictures. It looks very hot there, though, Tom. And you know how I don't like to go on vacation to hot places. So I'd probably have to go smack dab in the winter if I ever went.
Yeah, I would go to Turkey just to hear their music. I don't know why, but, I listen to different kinds of music, psychedelic music and alternative music. And every once in a while, they play something by a Turkish band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for some reason, their music scene there is lively and active. So, indeed, if you're interested in that sort of thing, Turkey probably has lots of interesting stuff to hear. But we also mentioned there's all sorts of different people there and different food and stuff. And, of course, the bazaars that you can check out and buy some souvenirs and bring them home. But today, of course, we're going to leave the city of Istanbul to go to some other places in Turkey. So let's get to it. Let's find out about some more of those places in Turkey, the crossroads of the world.
When visiting Turkey, don't limit your trip to Istanbul. There is even more to see if you venture outside the city. One spot you shouldn't miss is the Pamukkale Hot Springs, Turkish for Cotton Castle. Pamukkale has 17 hot springs that stretch down a hillside, with terraces formed by deposits of glittering white minerals, holding pure blue pools. Pamukkale has been famed as a spa since Roman times. In fact, you can still swim among the remains of marble columns from an ancient temple of Apollo at the antique pool. Another must-see place is Cappadocia, a region known for its bizarre rock formations. A good way to start any trip here is to take a hot air balloon ride. From up in the air, you can look down on Cappadocia's spectacular fairy chimneys, the white rock spires that dot much of the region. These natural stone towers have been carved into homes, churches, and even underground cities by the people who live there. The deepest of these cities, Derinkuyu, once housed up to 20,000 people. Visitors can now explore many of its 18 levels. You should also be sure to check out the country's delicious foods and specialty goods. Turkish carpets are among the best in the world. So are the traditional ceramics with their beautiful Islamic designs. You will also love the spices, leather-made goods, and hand-hammered copper pots. Once you've made your purchases, sit back and enjoy some Turkish delight, a soft candy that goes perfectly with the local coffee. When the time comes to head home from your journey, you can leave Turkey knowing it's a place to return to over and over again.
Okay, everybody, let's get to it. Let's discuss the contents of today's lesson right now. Again, we're talking about Turkey, the crossroads of the world. And this is the second day of our article. So here, of course, it begins by saying, when visiting Turkey, don't limit yourself to Istanbul. Take a look at the map. There's more to Turkey than the city of Istanbul. Of course, if you go to Turkey, you'll likely be flying into Istanbul and you'll check out things there. But of course, there are other things to see. In the countryside, there is even more to see if you venture outside the city. So here we've got the word venture being used as a verb, okay? It can be a noun. You can talk about business ventures, where you try to set up a business someplace and try to make some money. That means it's maybe kind of risky or something. Business ventures can be kind of risky, but here is a verb. It just means you dare to do something or you dare to go somewhere more dangerous. So you might venture outside the city. Of course, we're not saying it is dangerous outside of Istanbul, but it just means you're kind of having a sense of adventure to go out and see what Turkey has to offer.
That's right. Now, if you do use it as a verb in this way, which just means you're starting to go on a kind of a daring journey or you're starting some sort of action that could be risky, especially on a journey, you're often, if not always, going to see venture out. Okay, so remember that word out. We wouldn't say, I want to venture to South Taiwan. No, I want to venture out to South Taiwan or venture out somewhere. I also wanted to mention if you are an entrepreneur like many of the smart people here in Taiwan who are really brilliant with technology in particular, you might want to borrow money or get a firm to lend you money to start your business. They're called venture capitalists. They have the big dough, the big dollars that you'll need. So good luck with that. So venture, as Tom said, it's kind of a risky thing you're doing, especially new businesses. So one spot in Turkey you shouldn't miss is Pamukkale Hot Springs. Everyone here is familiar with hot springs, of course. We have our share of hot springs, which are great, but it might be fun to see another country's hot springs, what they're like, and kind of compare what they have versus Taiwan.
Yep, the place is called Pamukkale. I hope I said that right. And that's Turkish for cotton castle. Just like clouds, of course, they look like ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I'm quoting, of course, but in any case here, Pamukkale is an area of hot springs, and it's Turkish for cotton castle. Pamukkale has 17 hot springs that stretch down a hillside with terraces formed by deposits of glittering white minerals holding pure blue pools. So, of course, a hillside means the side of a hill, and then we've got the word terrace, and that's kind of like a level area, and then there'll be places above it and below it.
Kind of like steps in the mountain, right?
Except big enough where you can actually step on it and maybe sit down on it or something like that. So we've got different terraces that are formed by deposits of these minerals. A deposit means the minerals were left there by geographic motions or activity in the past. So you've got all these different kinds of minerals there, whatever they are, phosphorus or sulfur or whatever. And they're glittering. So they're white, but they're glittering. They kind of sparkle in the sunshine, and then the water in them, I guess, looks blue, okay? So it's pure blue pools, so it's probably a paradise on earth.
Sounds really beautiful. Minerals, of course, are things that the earth produces. Some minerals we need in our bodies to stay healthy, like iron. That's a mineral that we need to have enough of. So a mineral is just a solid, naturally occurring inorganic substance or thing. Inorganic means it's not alive. So we need minerals to be healthy. These are made out of deposits of white minerals, and this area here is holding pure blue pools. So their hot springs are actually nice blue water, which sounds really lovely. Pamukkale has been famed as a spa since Roman times. In fact, you can still swim among the remains of marble columns from an ancient temple of Apollo at something called the Antique Pool. Okay, so if you do want to go swimming there, it's situated or located among the remains or ruins. We'll often use those words interchangeably, the ruins, the remains. It's not a good-looking structure. It probably was beautiful at one point, but over time, it's kind of crumbled. So they're just remains of marble columns from a beautiful ancient temple of Apollo at the Antique Pool.
I guess that's what that pool is actually called, the Antique Pool. Of course, an antique is something that's very old, so you can sit in that water there and imagine that you are wearing a toga back in the days of the Romans, and you're anticipating an invasion by the Carthaginians or whoever. But in any case, here in the next paragraph, it says, another must-see place is Cappadocia, a region known for its bizarre rock formations. Okay, so that's the name of this place, and it's got some rock formations, but they're kind of bizarre. Kind of weird, kind of unusual. Maybe like the stone forest in Yunnan province in China. There are some interesting rock formations there. But here, these are bizarre rock formations. They are very unusual. You're going to look at those and go, wow, how the heck did those things form? How did they form naturally? That's really strange. It's weird. It's bizarre.
So we often use formations, guys, to talk about, I don't know, shapes of things like, for example, la la dui. If you're a cheerleader, you'll often come up with different formations that your group gets into to do their cheers. Or maybe you're a football player. They have different defensive formations, different ways they group together. We use formations quite a bit, actually. Bizarre, like Tom says, is weird. Something unusual or weird. I'm seeing a lot of weird colors of hair these days.
Uh-oh.
I quite like the blue and the pink. I'm not a big fan of the green. But hey, you know, if that floats your boat or makes you happy, good for you.
You can pose for lots of selfies with those and get lots of likes on Instagram or Facebook, so why not?
Okay.
But in any case, we've got these rock formations, and a good way to start any trip here is to take a hot air balloon ride. So you can kill two birds with one stone. You can ride in a hot air balloon. You probably haven't done that before. And you can also take a look at these bizarre rock formations from above. You can get the bird's eye view of those rock formations. And from up in the air, you can look down on Cappadocia's spectacular fairy chimneys, the white rock spires that dot much of the region. So they're spectacular. I guess the rock formations are called fairy chimneys. Like a xianren fairy, and chimneys, of course, are structures in houses that let the smoke out if you have a fire inside the house to keep warm in the winter or to cook food or whatever. And they're white rock spires, much like a church, sticking up, and they're all over this area. They're all over the region, so it's going to be quite a sight to see, and you will remember it for the rest of your life. Okay, that brings us to the midway point in today's lesson. Let's take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher.
大家好，欢迎收听 English Digest， 我是 Jessie。今天我们要阅读的文章是 Unit2 的第2天课程。前一天的课程介绍土耳其的伊斯坦堡，而土耳其除了伊斯坦堡以外，当然还有其他值得一访的景点，例如 Pamukkale。我们看到第一段的第4句 Turkish Forgotten Castle. Pamukkale has 17 hot springs that stretch down a hillside.with terraces formed by deposits of glittering white minerals, holding pure blue pools. Pamukkale 在土耳其语中为棉花城堡之意，它拥有17座沿着山坡向下延伸的温泉，其阶地由容纳纯蓝水池、闪闪发亮的白色矿物的沉积物所组成。介系词 with 后面接受词，再接受词补语，用来补充说明前方的主要子句发生之后的状态。要注意的是 with 后面不可以接一个完整句子，而受词补语可以是现在分词 VING 表主动语态，过去分词 VPP 表被动语态，或是形容词。例如Leo stared at his son with his arms folded across his chest. 里欧瞪着他的儿子，手背是背交叉在胸前，为被动语态，所以动词 fold 变成过去分词 folded. The teacher walked into the classroom with his students following him. 老师走进教室，他的学生跟在他后面。学生跟在老师后面是主动语态，所以动词 follow 变成现在分词 following。我们再看一个例子 Paul stared at the newspaper with his eyes wide open. 保罗瞪着报纸看，双眼睁得大大的。本句的 open 是形容词，所以不用变成 VING 或 VPP。我们接着看到第一段的最后一句In fact, you can still swim among the remains of marble columns from an ancient temple of Apollo at the Anti Pool. 事实上，在古代温泉池，你仍可在一座古阿波罗神庙的大理石柱遗址之间游泳。Remains 是名词， 用复数形表示，有遗迹、剩余物、遗骸的意思。例如 At the beach were the remains of a lighthouse. 在海滩上的是一座灯塔的遗迹。Remain 也可以做动词用，有仍然、留下、继续存在的意思。例如The speaker said that by remaining silent about inequality, people allow it to continue. 演讲者表示，人们对不公平的事保持沉默，就是允许这样的事继续发生。第二段提到另一个必须游访的 tourist destination， 就是 Cappadocia。我们看到这一段的第一句 Another must-see place is Cappadocia, a region known for its bizarre rock formations. 另一个必看的景点是卡帕多奇亚，此区域以奇特的岩层而闻名。形容词 bizarre 意思是古怪的、奇异的。其他表类似意思的还有 weird, W-E-I-R-D, 指不同于一般的事物或行为。例如Ken looked at the weird artwork for a while, but couldn't figure out what it meant. 肯看着这个古怪的艺术品一会儿，但无法了解它要表达的意义。Eccentric, E-C-C-E-N-T-R-I-C, 常指人或行为是古怪的或异常的。My uncle is a little eccentric. He always wears short-sleeve Hawaiian shirts, even in cold weather. 我叔叔有一点奇怪，他甚至在天气冷时也总是穿着短袖夏威夷衬衫。Grotesque, G-R-O-T-E-S-Q-U-E, 意思是怪诞的，常指会令人不舒服的怪异。例如Sue wore a grotesque mask, trying to scare her brother. Sue 戴着怪异的面具，试着要吓她的弟弟。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about Turkey, the crossroads of the world. When we left you, we were talking about some really cool rock formations that are located there in Cappadocia. They're called fairy chimneys. Take a look at your internet there. It's got some cool pictures of them. They look like little huts that are scattered around. They took hundreds of years to form, so they're not going anywhere very quickly. They'll be there as long as tourists don't hurt them. Be a really good tourist when you go to other countries. We're losing some of our beautiful places around the world because tourists are hurting or destroying things. Don't do that. The white rock spires on these chimneys dot much of the region. To dot just means they're scattered around. We could say convenience stores dot the landscape in Taiwan. We've got convenience stores on every corner.
I guess you could say that.
Which I love. I'm not complaining.
Yep.
Love that. A spire is, it's the point of, for example, a castle has a lot of spires on it. It's pointed up at the end, but it's wider at the bottom. It looks like a cone that you've inverted. So the round, wider part is on the bottom, and then it goes up into a point. That's a spire. And they look really beautiful. These natural stone towers have been carved into homes, churches, and even underground cities by the people who lived there. So although the people who actually made these are gone, you can see what they left behind. So it's kind of cool. You'll see them on homes, churches. Remember, we talked about churches being something that were more Christian than any other religion. If it's the Islam religion, it usually we'll see the word mosque used. And they even had some underground cities there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, there's one called Darinkuyu. I hope I said that. So it's the deepest. I hope I said that right. This is the deepest of these cities, and that's its name, Darinkuyu. Once housed up to 20,000 people. That's
wow.
Pretty difficult difficult to believe there, and visitors can now explore many of its 18 levels.
Oh, cool.
So I guess you can go inside this underground city and check it out. I
bet it's cooler.
Yeah, cooler than outside. Probably very cold during the winter, although I understand if you go in caves and the further down you go, the hotter it actually gets down there.
You'd have to be pretty far down, though, right?
Yeah, but I understand that some caves are pretty hot as you get down there. But yeah, you'd have to, talk to your tour guide or something, and you can ask them what to wear, and you can explore all those different levels there in Cappadocia and Derinkuyu. Now, you should also be sure to check out the country's delicious foods and specialty goods. Of course, that's one of the main reasons you're going to Turkey, not only just to see the sights, but also to try the food there. So check out their delicious foods. There's food with an S on it. You've brought this up before, but if you talk about different kinds of food, then you can add an S. But normally, it is a non-count noun. Boy!
Yeah.
I really want to eat a lot of food right now because I'm very hungry.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, I went to a party last night. They had a lot of terrific foods. No. If you're at a party, yeah, there are different kinds of food, but we would never put an S on it. Be very careful with this word, guys. Like I said, I'm seeing lots of S's added to everything that should be non-count. If you're talking about specialty things or specialty goods, goods just means products that people make or produce. Specialty means something that you're really good at, something that's very unique maybe to a particular country or culture. Usually tourists, those are the things we want to take back home and show our friends and family, or maybe give as gifts.
Indeed. So, yes, specialty goods, things that you can only buy in Turkey. And Turkish carpets are among the best in the world. So, yeah, I don't know how you'd
They're
haul.
Beautiful.
Can you haul a Turkish carpet back with you?
They'd have to ship it back with you.
Yeah,
They're
probably
too heavy.
can't have it as a check-in
No.
or something like that. And you can also get their traditional ceramics, which, of course, are things made out of clay and fired in a kiln. So they're, of course, Chinese ceramics are world famous.
Beautiful,
but these ones are going to have Islamic designs. If you've ever been in a mosque before, you know they've got some great patterns in those mosques. So, yes, some of these ceramics will have those beautiful designs. They'll be really cool. They'll be a fine addition to your home. And you will also love the spices, leather-made goods, and hand-hammered copper pots. Copper pots, okay? Pots made out of copper, but they're hand-hammered, or they're made by hand. And, of course, if you're working with copper, you've got to use those hammers to make them. You could probably cook some wonderful food in those copper pots.
Yeah, copper is a big metal from the state where I was born, is Arizona. So if you'd go out to the Indian reservations, you could often buy things that were made out of copper. It's kind of a rust color, quite beautiful. And our pennies that we have in America, they used to have mostly copper in them. I'm not sure. They probably mix other metals in now, but it's kind of a cool metal to have. I did not know they made leather goods in Turkey. That's kind of fun. It's kind of like Italy. If you ever go to Italy, guys, the leather's amazing. And the spices. Wow, they have yummy food, tasty food there. So you might want to bring home a mix of dry spices that you could use in your own kitchen to try to replicate some of the food that you tried there in Turkey. Notice I didn't say foods you tried there in Turkey. I said food. Be careful.
Yeah, indeed. And, of course, these are some examples of things you can buy there in Turkey to bring back home as souvenirs or as mementos of your trip there. And once you've made your purchases, just when you do that and immediately afterwards, sit back and enjoy some Turkish delight, which is a soft candy that goes perfectly with the local coffee. Of course, I think we've all heard of Turkish coffee.
Very strong.
Yeah, if somebody put a cup of Turkish coffee in front of me and asked me to compare it to a cup of latte or something, I probably could not tell the difference. I am not much of a coffee connoisseur, but if you are a coffee connoisseur or somebody who really loves coffee, then you'll certainly enjoy the coffee in Turkey. It's world famous, and I guess it comes with some kind of soft candy, so they kind of go together. It's kind of like the Turkish version of afternoon tea.
Yeah, that the Brits do. So when the time comes to head home from your journey, You can leave Turkey knowing it's a place to return to over and over again. Yeah, if you really love it, if it's kind of your cup of tea, which means it's kind of your thing, you feel at home there, you might come home and think, I think my next vacation's going to be in Turkey too. It's not close. I mean, the airfare is going to be kind of expensive. But yeah, it sounds like a fun place to go. In a package tour, perhaps.
Maybe.
Which will be a little safer, especially for the women out there.
Yeah, you'll have of course, to ask your travel agent about safety concerns and about what kind of visa you need. But I have a number of friends who have been there. They've brought back pictures and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
So it's certainly doable. It's not dangerous like going to Syria or someplace like that.
Where there's a war going on.
Indeed, or Afghanistan or whatever. Even though Syria is right next door to Turkey, and there are quite a few Syrian refugees in Turkey, but I'm sure you're not going to be traveling to those places. There are plenty of other things to do besides go to the war zones in the Middle East. So indeed, enjoy your trip to Turkey. And of course, it's going to be a trip of a lifetime. You'll never forget it, and you'll tell your friends and family all about it. So what are you waiting for? Talk to your travel agent right now or book your reservations online. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
参观完土耳其的知名景点后，当然不可以错过土耳其的特产。我们看到最后一段的第一句 You should also be sure to check out the country's delicious foods and specialty goods. 你也应该要试试看土耳其的美味食物及名产。名词 specialty 有特产、特色菜的意思。例如 The specialty of this restaurant is its roast beef. 这间餐厅的招牌菜是它的烤牛肉。Specialty 也有专业、专长的意思。例如 Jay is a lawyer whose specialty is civil law. 杰是位律師，其專長是民法。Specialty 的衍生字是动詞 specialize. S-P-E-C-I-A-L-I-Z-E. 專攻专精的意思。片语 specialize in something 就是指专精于某事，专门从事某事。例如 After graduating from high school, David wanted to specialize in biology in college. 高中毕业后，大卫想要在大学专攻生物。以上就是今天的课程，谢谢大家收听。
Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you so much for joining us and enjoy your trip to Turkey if you choose to go. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Bye.
See ya.